Coming up this Saturday, October 19th at the Osborne Taphouse at 112 Osborne, starting at 9 p.m., Winnipeg audiences are invited to dance and soak up the energy, vibrancy, and heat of salsa music with Winnipeg's all-star salsa band, Curubandé. Led by Jaime Chinchilla, who is originally from Costa Rica, Curubandé promises a show full of energy and fun that will get your hips and feet moving to the beat and sounds of Latin America. It is an opportunity to forget that we are looking down the barrel of another Winnipeg winter and for one evening enjoy a trip south. This is going to be a fantastic show, and joining me here in the Classic 107 studio to talk about Curubandé's performance on Saturday, I am joined by Jaime Chinchilla and Peruvian singer Carlos Eccles. Hello to you both. So great to have you here.
Hi, Chris. Thanks for having us.
Thank you for having us, Chris.
Jaime, you are the leader of Curubandé. When did the group start, and can you talk about what you had in mind when you wanted to start the group? And is the band named for Curubandé, Costa Rica?
Yes, it is Curubandé. Yes,
yeah.
Yes. It's my favorite place in the world. It's a place where it's my ideal place, and I think if people get to know Curubandé, it would be an ideal place for a lot of people. And for us, that's what the band is. We are all in our element when we are playing with Curubandé.
And so, when you came to Canada, we were talking a little bit about this off air. Can you talk about how the group started and how it sort of evolved to where it is now?
Yeah, there is a couple of iterations of this band. We started many years ago, and we were talking, outside before about how it all started. But I was a student at Brandon University, and I was doing my classical piano degree. We are Latin Americans, so you can get it out of you. It will catch you up. And I just knew that I needed to do that, and there was, the need for it in Brandon, with a lot of Latin Americans migrating there and people welcoming there, and there was this community context going on. So we started a band. And at the time, it was a semi-professional community kind of band with the students and some people from the community. And it took many years, but we professionalized the project. I guess naturally we got to places and we realized we needed to become more and more professional. And this is Curubandé. It's like the mature version of all of those years trying to do Latin music.
Oh, fantastic. And Carlos, you're the singer with the band. How long have you been in the group, and when did you join?
Same as I would just repeat the words of Jaime. There was two iterations, 2 times, 2 eras, I would say, about Curubandé, and I was in both. Initially in Brandon, because I live in Brandon as well, and we met with Jaime. We started the project. He already started the project, and he invited me to be part of in that time the salsa band that he has. So initially it was there. It was a fabulous time. I guess we may dance all the community in Brandon, and we have that ambitious to grow, and we just progress in different projects. And now here in Winnipeg, we met each other again in this Curubandé ensemble with a different perspective, more mature in our projects, more musically mature, and with, I would say, more professional. So I would say professional members. That's why it's all the stars. Many of them are stars in their own projects. So.
Absolutely. Yeah. And we'll talk about who's in the band in just a second. But first, one of the things that I was thinking about when I was putting together the interview is, Carlos, you're from Peru, and Jaime, you're from Costa Rica. Can you talk about some of the musicians that got you interested in salsa music? And is there a difference between salsa from Peru as opposed to Costa Rica? Maybe, Jaime, I'll get you to start.
Yes, no, that's a great question, Chris. Salsa has origins, like anything else, roots in Africa and the Caribbean. But today, I would say salsa is a universal thing. Like everybody, every city, every major city has actually bands like this. And so for us, it's a dream come true to finally have this in Winnipeg as well. And yes, for dancers and musicians, there is not only different styles, but even different eras. of music. Like anything else, if you talk about jazz or classical, you will have all of these different schools of thought and different variations. So if you go to Colombia, salsa is played slightly different in a particular way that's known to them. Same for Cuba or Puerto Rico. So in Costa Rica, we are in the middle of, in the center of the continent, so we get all of those influences. But if you go to South America right now, they're known for developing. Carlos maybe can talk more about that. But in Peru, is one of the trending salsa developments right now because they're fusioning a lot of the Cuban sound with the new Peruvian sound. So it's always like trying to evolve. It's pretty much alive. And what a lot of people don't know is salsa is it has also roots in North America because it's a New York thing, right? Like when lots of different immigrants met there and started doing music together. Salsa means sauce. They just put together the right ingredients from all of those countries. So yes, it's unique in each country, but it's also universal.
And Carlos, can you talk about like some of the artists who inspired you in Peru? And can you talk about like how is Peruvian salsa different than Costa Rican?
I would start with the figures and with the stars or the musicians who inspire me in the salsa style. I would start with the bases, right? Which is in Cuba we have a Celia Cruz, we have a Los Compadres, which they were a trio, and those are the root of the style by itself. Then when those immigrants, those Cubans or Puerto Ricans, went to United States, and they were unified by the term salsa, and they start making music in those big ballrooms in New York. In that time, we have Pacheco, the one who unified that styles and label it as a salsa. So we have a Pacheco, we have all the funniest stars that he created, which is we have Héctor Lavoe, we have Rubén Blades, we have Pete El Conde. So many people, I would say, it was required for me to listen to really understand what is the flavor of this this style. What is different now, the salsa from that time or from that particular region to the salsa that we have in Peru? I guess every country add their own instrument text. I would say the musical texture, their own patterns. So in Peru, we have also influence, African influence. We have folklore. A part of our folklore is festejo, which is an style that comes from Africa. So now we create our own songs. So we use the style. I mean, salsa. We understand the style. We understand the beat. We understand the forma. I would say the form. No, A, B. What is the mambo? What is the moña? But we try to incorporate new sounds. We try to incorporate new, I would say, patterns in the melody. And that makes us unique. Same as Colombia, same as Costa Rica, and same as Venezuela. I guess now in Peru we are trying to create or we try to have a presence with our own style of salsa.
Fantastic. New York's come up a couple of times in the conversation as a sort of melting pot from all these different cultures, making this sauce, this salsa, and Winnipeg has got a surprising Latin American, like very vibrant Latin American community. I was on your Facebook page and I saw a little blurb of the singer Paulina Gonzalez, who's originally from Mexico, sort of giving a shout out to Curubandé. Is salsa one of these things that sort of unifies people and creates these relationships here in Winnipeg?
It does, and thanks to Paulina, because she's not only a great soprano, but she said that maybe sometime we can collaborate, and she will be there singing salsa. As I said before, when we were, off the record, it's something you can't fight. It's in all of us. If you were born in Latin America, or even if you lived in a place like New York or For what I can say now, even Winnipeg, you grow up with culture. You're going to be at some point dancing or enjoying the music, and if you're a musician, it's there. And so for all of the Latin American countries, it's something we have in common. We have lots of things in common, but I think there's one thing about salsa that makes it, enjoyable to almost anyone, and it is the fusion of cultures. Because originally we have the African drums. Sometimes we say Mother Africa when we are talking about the rhythm, right? All of those drums, hand drums, they for sure come from Africa. And, we have the harmony and the melody. That's pretty much a European thing. And we talk a lot about colonization, with a negative connotation. But in terms of music, it's actually a good thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because that's why how they actually kept some of their traditions. For example, slaves at the time, when they started playing what we know as salsa today, some of those rhythms, they were actually just practicing their own traditions, right? Their own religion. And we have also instruments like the maracas or the güiro, which are indigenous to Latin America. They're made from gourds that you would find in trees only in this continent. So it's an amazing thing when you think about it, because even Spanish musical tradition would have a lot of Middle Eastern music. So it's one of those genres that anyone can relate to.
Yeah.
And I think being from Latin America, and Latin America is actually that, a fusion of cultures, a fusion of, where due to colonization, but also modern globalization, people are going places like Winnipeg, and we bring that with us, and it's easily relatable to anyone.
Mm-hmm. Can we talk about the band? Who's in the lineup? Like, if you have full horn section and keyboards and percussion and the rest of it, who is in the band?
Yeah, so one story that we're telling here is that this is like a mature project, and when we thought about reactivating this after COVID, because we played in 2019, and I think in that summer and a couple of times in the fall, and then COVID came, and we were hesitant to reactivate it. But one of the things we thought of was, this is going to be, if we do it, it's going to be the last time we're doing this, and we have to do it right, and we need to get the best people possible.
Mm-hmm.
And at the time, it seemed like a dream, but I started calling people up, and Rodrigo Munoz, very well known for Papa Mambo, Amber Epp, a phenomenal keyboardist and singer. We have Carlos Ecos, who is, to my own liking, one of the best singers we have in Winnipeg, especially for salsa.
Mm-hmm.
And so we also have my brother, Jaime Chinchilla. We have Manuel Noriega, who is a phenomenal bassist from Colombia. Rafael Talavera, percussion player from Venezuela.
Oh, wow.
And a couple of amazing horn players, Matt Walden and Andrew Littleford.
Oh, wow.
Am I forgetting someone, Carlos?
Well, we have, I guess you mentioned Ember, you mentioned...
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so when we got all of those people together, we really thought, wow, we need to call this an all-star band, because it's, we couldn't believe it. It's a privilege to have those amazing players with us. And people who follow any of those people, you know what I'm talking about. Yeah. It's some of the best here in Winnipeg.
Absolutely. It sounds like an all-star lineup, that's for sure.
I'm sorry, I just want to add something that makes this Curubandé unique. It's not only the artists that we have. I mean, we have tremendous artists, tremendous performers. But I guess is somehow we are related to with this music, how we want to make it marvelous, and to my eyes and to my own understanding, after I would say singing with other bands, not necessarily here in Winnipeg, but in other part of the world, this orchestra has nothing to envy or to miss with others orchestras in the world. So I could say right now that we are in the level to compete, to really make you dance for the first move, like any Puerto Rican orchestra or any Cuban orchestra. The flavor is there, the rhythm is there, and I mean, it's fabulous.
It's going to be a really remarkable gig. The show starts at 9 and it ends at 2 in the morning.
Yeah.
So I'm presuming there's going to be sets, right? What kind of tunes can people expect to hear on Saturday? Is it going to be covers? Is it going to be originals? From a music standpoint, what can people expect?
It's a mix of both. Now, in salsa style, if you're doing it properly, you don't really have covers. There's a lot of improvisation. You can think of it as, in that sense, as jazz music. You have standards.
Mm-hmm.
And the band's supposed to make that alive. And when players improvise and they make their own, for example, Carlos will improvise most of his lyrics. Salsa, you sing a verse, and then you start exchanging. We call it coro and guia, right? And so the backup singers will sing, and Carlos will reply with a new, made at the moment lyric, and that's something to see. So you have the same for percussion and horn players. They're going to be improvising a lot. It's a mix of those standards with some originals that I have written for my band throughout the years. And people can expect exactly that, like, some of the best players in town showing off with their instruments. And if you've been at those gigs and you've seen those hands going over those drums, it's something to see. Listen to trumpets with those high pitches that will get you going no matter what. It's something to see and experience for sure.
Oh, it's going to be fantastic. I'm going to ask a question of both of you. What do you hope people are going to walk away with from the show with, or do you want them to walk away? Do you want them to stay there all night and dance the night away?
Oh, this is going to be 3 sets of music. Doors open at 9, and then we have the band going a couple of times, and people won't want to leave for sure. Yeah. There is something about this music that makes you want to be on the dance floor. But a lot of people, when in previous gigs, we were in Thunder Bay playing for Canada. We just played the Mayor's Ball last weekend. Sometimes people are just, they're watching all of it's happening. And if you're a musician, for example, one thing I enjoyed when I watched these kind of bands in Toronto or New York, it's just looking at the level of musicianship there. And then so if you're one of those people who enjoy the skill of the musicians and just how music is put together, you will enjoy it. Or if you're a dancer, you will still enjoy it the same. So.
Absolutely. And Carlos, how about you? What do you hope audiences will walk away with?
I would say as a dancer, because I'm also a dancer. As a singer, I dance. I create a show with the chorus, with Jaime, with other singers there. So we create, I would say, choreography for people to follow. So from the perspective of a dancer, I want them just be anxious to have more, that 2 a.m. is not enough, they want to be like 3, that they be really sad because we had to, I would say to cut the show at 2. But if they ask, where we can dance or where we can follow after that, that is the feeling that we would like to have on them, because it will be like that.
Yeah, I'm sure it will be. I'm gonna wrap up the conversation by asking how much are tickets and where can people get them?
Yeah, so this show is happening at the Osborne Taphouse. It's the heart of Osborne Street at the Osborne Village, and the tickets are $20 at the door and Eventbrite as well. So you can go online right now, make sure that you get it because they're selling fast, to be honest. But we hope to welcome people at the door too, just. You can get them on Eventbrite. Just look for Curubandé, and if that's too hard, All-Star Salsa Band Winnipeg, and it will come up. And then you can also come to the door on the 20th.
Perfect.
On the 19th, sorry. On the 19th.
On the 19th. Jaime and Carlos, this has been so great to meet you both and talk to you about what is sure to be a totally electrifying and hot performance on Saturday night at the Osborne Taphouse at 112 Osborne. Thanks for making the time to stop by and talk to me today. It's been terrific.
Thanks for having us, Chris.
Thanks to you.
For our Classic 107 listeners, Curubandé performs this Saturday at Osborne Taphouse at 112 Osborne. The show starts at 9. For more details, go to classic107.com. I've embedded a direct link to the Eventbrite page where you can purchase tickets and find out more about Curubandé's performance in the article that you can find at classic107.com. Carlos and Jaime, thanks again.
Gracias.
Gracias.